Hello, everyone. Welcome to Astro Highlights. We're going to be looking at the week of December 17th through the 23rd. My name's Angela Alston, and I'll be your host. Now, let me get this set up here. Hope everyone's doing really well. I have something really exciting to share with you this week. This is kind of an incredible week. I'm going to open with the opening question, which is going to be very relevant for everyone this week. And that is, when luck comes knocking, will you open the door? Before I get started, there's 50% off all readings. That includes electional, horary, and natal readings and synastry readings through the end of the year. That is my gift to you for all of your support. Your support makes me able to do what I do, and I really, really appreciate you. Welcome to the Sagittarian table is up over at my blog. That's at angelaalstonastrology.com. And that offers some foods, meals, menus that align to the solar energies, which for part of the week are going to be Sagittarius. But as everyone knows, we are transitioning into Capricorn season in a mere few days. And over at the blog also, there's this month's narrative therapy activity for Sagittarius season, remembering who stretches you. So that's a creative writing prompts. Please feel free to enjoy that. Send me in some of your creative work from that if you want to. I absolutely love reading it. And let's get into the planetary progress for this week. So the sun begins in Sagittarius, traveling from 2506, and ends the week at 213 Capricorn. And I measure a week by 12:01 a.m. on the Sunday, ending at 11:59 p.m. the following Saturday. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and so this is Pacific time. The moon begins the week at 22:51 Aquarius, right on my sun, and travels to 29:51 Taurus. Mercury begins the week in Capricorn, retraveling from 6 degrees 57 back into Sagittarius, 28 degrees 32. Yes, Mercury is retrograde, just in time for the holiday season, right? It's usually retrograde this time of year. It's actually a great time to be retrograde. Travel snafus aside. Venus in Scorpio is traveling from 1454 to 2319. She's really zipping right along through Scorpio. Mars is in Sagittarius, traveling 16 degrees 30 to 21 degrees 38. Jupiter's in Taurus, retraveling 5 degrees 54 to 539. It is the last 2 weeks of Jupiter's retrograde in Taurus. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means and some activities that you might want to do to honor this period. And then Saturn is in Pisces, traveling from 2 degrees 4 minutes to 2 degrees 35 minutes. That is the planetary progress for the week. Now, we actually have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to try and get to most of it in as much depth as I can, but to really dig in to everything that's happening this week, would take longer than we have. So I'm going to be focusing on a few things, including the last 2 weeks of Jupiter's retrograde. Of course, the sun entering Capricorn, the wheel turns, can't gloss over that. Mercury trining Jupiter, both of them retrograde, and how that can actually be a supportive thing, rather than, not so much if you're looking at it from a horary perspective, but for the way that it can manifest and the channels that it can open, which is really what this series is looking at. Saturn sextiling Jupiter, and December 21st in general, it is a remarkable day. So let's get into it. But before we do, I want to talk a little bit about the concept of luck. I'm going to be putting together a new offering. Well, I've already put it together. I'm introducing it right now. A new offering for 2024. And that is a custom chart analysis for you that looks at asteroids that are associated with luck, including Tyche, Tyche, Fortuna, looking at Jupiter in your chart. There's a few other asteroids involved in that, actually, and really unpacking how luck shows up in your personal profile. I get a lot of people who come to me and say, you know, I'm not lucky. I'm not as lucky as fill in the blank. Or, you know, I've never been a lucky person. And I always cringe a little bit on the inside, because luck is a very complex construct. We have certain expectations of how it looks and how it shows up. Oh, you know, like a bolt out of the blue, you know, someone's won the lottery, they must be lucky. Not really, first of all. We know that people who win the lottery have lost in lots of very important ways. But luck has a lot to do with timing, preparedness, synchronicity, attitude, learning to listen to your instincts, recognizing opportunity, and karma. And there's more. This is a short, condensed version, but I've really been thinking about how I can help people understand luck in their lives, how it manifests in their personal profile, and how unwittingly they may be blocking it. For some people, luck doesn't happen out of the blue, like a bolt out of the blue. Luck happens by careful planning. And that's particularly if Saturn is involved in one of your luck signatures. And I feel like I have a special relationship with luck, in part because Jupiter is conjunct my ascendant. And that has always been considered a very lucky placement. The irony, perhaps, with this is that for most of my life, I didn't feel like a lucky person. I experienced a lot of trauma and a lot of tragedy from a very young age. And if you had asked me, and this was especially before I really started to understand how nuanced luck is, I would have said that I was very unlucky, that the concept of luck didn't apply to somebody who had been through what I had been through. Well, that's not true. luck for me has appeared through self-understanding. Luck for me has appeared slowly over time. And because of my Jupiter's relationship to Saturn, luck has appeared for me after a lot of hard work. And so, yeah, I want to introduce this offering to you. Finding Your Pot of Gold is going to be added to my website in January. And we're going to really dive into what luck looks like for you, how it manifests for you, how to unblock those channels in your life. I think I'm really excited for it. And I know it's something that will add a tremendous amount of self-understanding to people's lives. And so with that in mind, I want to introduce you to one of the asteroids that's going to be playing a starry role in this new offering, and that is Tyche. Tyche is the goddess of chance, fortune, and prosperity. She was capricious and would sow a fair amount of bad luck, which is always a part of luck, isn't it? Along with good luck. And the story goes, the first pair of dice that was ever created was dedicated to Tyche. So where this asteroid falls in your chart tells a lot about a certain type of luck, or as the case may be, if it is interacting with harsh aspects, what might be perceived as your lack of luck. And this is really the sort of out of the blue, where did this come from? Chance, that sort of luck. And I want to introduce her to you right now because she is really juiced this week in a very special configuration called a special minor grand trine. It's actually a minor grand trine, not a special minor grand trine, or a small talent triangle. And she's in relationship with Jupiter, ding, 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 and Saturn. And it's this aspect, which is happening on December 21st. It's actually happening for most of the week, all of the week, if I'm not mistaken. That is just an incredible portal of opportunity. So, yeah, there she is, the Greek goddess of chance, luck, fortune, and prosperity. So the last 2 weeks of Jupiter's retrograde, that's what we're in now. Jupiter has been retrograde since June 17th, 2023. And Jupiter is another planet that is often associated with luck and lucky people. Now, Jupiter's retrograde gives you the opportunity to learn. A big part of Jupiter is about learning, but Jupiter tends to be really focused on the future. And the thing is, if you're always focused on the future, if you're one of those people that's sort of addicted to the future or in love with the future, in love with the idea of possibility, and who isn't? I mean, as I said, I am a Jupiter conjunct my ascendant. That is my language. But one of the pitfalls with that orientation is that you don't always take the necessary time to learn. And learning is a recursive activity. Jupiter has a lot to teach you about what you did right, but also where you missed out. And so this particular retrograde is really inviting you to look back over the past 6 months. So not the entire span of your life, not even the past decade, not even the past entire year, but a smaller unit of time, 6 months. And really look at that time in your life, the quality of that time in your life, and ask yourself these following questions. When you review the past half year, what opportunities did you miss? Now that you're looking back in retrospect, what did you see now was an actual opportunity that you didn't recognize as such at the time? And why this is so important is because opportunities look different for everybody. And a lot of it is what you value, what you need in your life, and how what you value meets what you need in a way that is unique only to you. If I were to sit down, and I do, and in fact, I am spending the next 2 weeks, I journal every day. And one of the things that I'm really focusing on right now is a review, and a review from a particularly Jupiterian lens. What opportunities, first of all, did you seize? You learn from that too. What did you really maximize in your life? What came across your radar that you grabbed, and you're really glad that you did so? But also, what opportunities did you miss? And you want to see those so that you recognize them more clearly the next time they show up, because they will. If it's an opportunity that you are meant to have, it'll come by again. Especially now with Jupiter moving direct over this same territory, right? That's what the shadow phase is about. Jupiter is going to be moving direct come the end of the year over the same degrees through which he's been retrograde. So you're going to get another chance. And this is one of the incredibly important things about luck. One of the ways that you learn to be lucky is by not making the same mistake twice. And it's really easy to do, especially if you're not totally aware that it was a mistake. That's what this retrograde period, with Mercury in retrograde as well, it's really facilitating this retrospective. Another thing to consider is, what acts of kindness could you have extended to others over the past 6 months that for whatever reason you did not extend them? Because at the end of the day, that's going to be what you regret more than anything else. It's what you could have done to help others. And remember, you're going to have the chance again. And so really take a look at your heart. What acts of kindness could you have extended to others? Because when you extend that kindness to others, your soul grows. And that makes Jupiter happy, because Jupiter is all about expansion. And this isn't an opportunity to beat yourself up. Not at all. You have to trust that you had very good reason for not extending the kindness at that time. But this is a different point in time. And as we move forward, these opportunities. It might not be the same person. It's not going to be the exact same circumstance, but it's going to be the same dynamic. You'll have the chance to do it again. And then finally, what did you learn over the past 6 months that makes you more whole? Right? Jupiter's about cohesion and ready to face the future. Facing the future, Jupiter's turning, stationing direct and turning so it can move direct. You're going to be moving into that future. What have you learned over the past 6 months that can now be part of your superpowers? So this is all to say, these last 2 weeks are really precious time to look over the past few months and gather the wisdom of your own life. See, that's what's key. You are the best teacher of yourself. People often look outside of themselves. I mean, believe me, I know it. I've been an astrologer since 1997. People look outside of themselves to astrologers, to friends, to books, to whatever source, parents, there's a church, there's politicians. I mean, the list goes on, thinking that it's out there that you're going to find and learn what you need in your life. And it's not. It's in here. You are your guru. You are the teacher of your own soul. And that is so important, because these retrograde periods really offer you the opportunity to take the time and to learn from your own actions. And it's by this retrospection, kind retrospection, that your soul can reflect. And then you get a chance to do better, or to just do differently. We're all going to make different mistakes. And that's fine. That's how you learn. So let's get into the winter solstice. Perhaps my favorite day of the year. December 21st this year at 7:27 p.m. So this is Pacific time. The sun ingresses to Capricorn, marking the longest night, the shortest day. But it's when the light begins to return. And this, for me, is about hope. And hope that is grounded, rooted in the natural cycles. We all go through personally cycles of light and darkness, and times when our inner light really does fade, and it's a battle. And we can look outside ourselves to nature, natural cycles, and see that same dynamic writ large. And the solstice is such an important turning point, because we are in the darkness. We are lighting Yule logs to tend our own fires, to keep ourselves warm, to keep the hope alive. And then slowly, minute by minute, increment by increment, the light returns. It's an absolutely profound time of year. But there is nothing particularly restful about this date this year, because cosmically it is an incredibly active day. Perhaps one of the most active I've seen in a long time. And I'll go over very briefly everything that's happening on December 21st. But truly, it's too much to get into in the depth that any one of these line items would deserve. So the sun enters Capricorn. And that's where it said to not be particularly strong because Saturn rules Capricorn and the sun rules Leo, and they are on oppositions. So the sun is entering the sign of its opposite, which is actually a very deep place to be and a place of incredible opportunity to learn and to see outside of your own paradigm. So the sun enters Capricorn, a sign that is deeply mysterious. It is the sea goat. I just remember learning once about, somebody said once about Capricorn, that Capricorns are extraordinary because it's one of the only signs that can go to the bottom of the ocean and the top of the mountain. And I think when we think about Capricorn in sort of a shorthand way, we remember the top of the mountain. We remember the aspects of Capricorn that climbs, that takes the hard route, that is always seeking to improve themselves. And that's a little bit lonely. And we forget the aspect of Capricorn that goes so deep, that goes into the ocean of our existence, where Cancer is, where it almost meets, because Capricorn ruled by Saturn, the opposite of Capricorn is actually Cancer. It's not until I realize it's not until the sun gets into Aquarius, which is where it's going next, that its opposition is Leo. Now its opposition is in Cancer. And Capricorn is often looked at as the father figure, with Cancer being the maternal principle. And of course, these are archetypes that we all carry inside of ourselves. So the sun is entering into the house of the father. As it does so, it moves into sextile with Saturn. Sun sextile Saturn is a very supportive, mature channel that allows you to take on hard tasks, big tasks, hard tasks. It allows you to access a kind of authority that is the best side of Saturn. The sun brings, when the sun is in sextile with Saturn, that's a supportive, and the sun is generative. The sun is the center, it is our star. So it is in warm conversation with Father Time. The sun is also conjunct Mercury during, Mercury's retrograde. It's part of its cycle. It's going back to the heart of the sun when it turns Cazimi. That's going to be in a little while, I think next week. But during this week and on the 21st, it's conjunct Mercury within 3 degrees. And sun conjunct Mercury can give incredible powers of insight. The sun is also trining the moon during this December 21st. So it moves into Capricorn and it is trining the moon. And sun trine moon is a good balance between the solar and the lunar aspects of ourselves. Our emotional needs and our ego needs are on the same page with each other, instead of sort of self-defeating self-undoing behavior. This really supports actions and relationships that help us in our solar identities. Saturn is sextiling the moon. Tyche trine Saturn. So you have luck in happy relationship to time. This is a channel that's saying the time, it's a lucky time. Tyche sextiles Jupiter. Tyche opposes Mercury. Tyche sextiling Jupiter. Luck is in a supportive relationship with the principle of material abundance. Tie that to the trine to Saturn. It is the right time for luck when it comes to material abundance. A grounded, fixed, Venusian type of abundance. It doesn't have to mean money, but it could. And then Tyche opposing Mercury. Mercury, the function of our minds, of what we are aware of, is staring right at luck. What is it going to do? How are we going to recognize it? This is really the luck is knocking at the door. Are you going to open it? A lot has to do with how Mercury relates to, and whether it sees luck for what she is. Well, this same Mercury is sextiling Saturn. So it should have a really, a wisdom. Mercury sextiling Saturn is mental maturity. It's also about making good decisions, right? Not short-sighted decisions, but decisions that will stand the test of time. And then Venus is opposing Uranus. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but this is very spicy. Venus in Scorpio opposing Uranus. This is a time of sudden breakthroughs in things Venusian. You want to see where Venus falls in your own chart, because that will likely give a little bit of the story here for you. But Venus in Scorpio, which is looking for depth, looking at what's hidden, pressing up against sometimes the taboo, really exploring things, and wanting a deep, real, authentic, kind of soul-shaking connection. Comes face to face, right? Oppositions are face to face with chaos, with the bolt out of the blue. And this is all, we're still on December 21st. I mean, it's absolutely extraordinary. Saturn sextiles Jupiter. And that kind of speaks to the timing. These Saturn and Jupiter are time lords. When they're in supportive relationship, a channel is opened where the time is right. And again, wherever these are falling in your chart, your personal chart, will help you unpack that and what it means for you. But it's it's a really lovely when Saturn, the god of time, is in happy relationship to Jupiter, the god of wisdom, abundance, learning, expansion, benevolence. A lot of good things can happen when that relationship and that energetic channel is opened for us. And then finally, Pluto is anaretic, which means it's in its last degree of Capricorn. So much like, well, no, it's not actually much like that at all. Whatever this Pluto in Capricorn story has been for you, and that is looking at the long term. What has been going on in the area of your life that where Capricorn falls since 2008 is coming to a close. Pluto is finishing up its business in Capricorn, and it's going to be moving on to Aquarius. It's going to be popping back into Capricorn for a little amount of time in 2024, but just a few months, maybe even just 2. I need to check that. But more or less, this is the end of this storyline, clearing whatever, finishing up whatever needs to be finished up so that Pluto can enter Aquarius and start that epic in your life. So, and I hit on this a little bit already. Luck is knocking at the door this week. Will you open it? So this week we have a special lucky configuration, a minor grand trine. And a minor grand trine, I talked about it a few weeks ago. It's similar to the grand trine, but it is less stable than the grand trine, so it's more dynamic. With the minor grand trine, which is also called the small talent triangle, you have 2 sextiles and a trine instead of 3 trines. And so those sextiles offer a little bit more movement. And in this minor grand trine, we have Jupiter, right? Jupiter at its focal point. So we have Jupiter with a sextile to Tyche, goddess of luck, a sextile to Saturn, god of time, karma. And then we have a trine between Tyche and Saturn. Saturn is about past actions. There is a lot about Saturn that has to do with you can't escape your own karma. But karma doesn't always have to be a negative thing. And when Saturn is in relationship to Jupiter, with Jupiter as at the focal point, and the planet at the focal point of a small talent triangle is the one that is kind of buzzing the most. It is the one that's electrified. This is, I can't undersell this. I wasn't even going to talk about Tyche or, finding your pot of gold or anything like that until 2024. But when I saw this in the sky this week, I realized that to not talk about it would be literally doing you a disservice. This is your Christmas gift from the universe. It's an effect all week with special energy on December 21st, because that's when Mercury opposes Tyche. Again, this is when you'll be able to see or not see the opportunity Now, Tyche is at 4 degrees Cancer. So to unpack this, you're going to want to see where that falls in your chart. If you have any special configuration or any special aspects to that point, is it a midpoint? Do you have any planets there? And just what house is it falling in your chart? So Tyche is at 4 degrees Cancer. Luck is coming from the home. Luck is coming from what you have. Cancer is about your maternal legacy, what you've learned from your mothers and your grandmothers. Sextiling Jupiter and Taurus. Tyche is trining Saturn in Pisces. This is luck meeting timing. And then Saturn sextiling Jupiter. The time lords are supporting each other. You can reap the benefits of your past actions during this time. But luck, like anything else in life, you have to recognize it and you have to open the door. So listen for what's knocking. It can be so many different things, depending on where this 4 degree Cancer falls in your chart and how powerful it is for you. Now, this is a channel that's open for everybody this week. But some people will feel it with a little bit more resonance. It might show up in a way that is a little more vital for some people. And that's anything in astrology. It really depends on how it's hitting your chart. Also look at your progress chart and your solar return chart. And if you have any questions about this, because this is not something you want to sit on, folks. I'm really excited about this, and I'm here for you to help you unpack so you can really meet this moment. And I want to be able to help you not just meet this moment, because it's not just a moment. This is a portal opening. But anything at all, but anything involving Saturn will grow in time. So you might open the door this week, but the manifestation of that, it's probably not going to be immediate. And I do want to give that caveat. Things that involve Saturn are not immediate. Things that involve Uranus can be. But Saturn is much more about not only karma, what you've done in the past, but how time is going to unfold for you. Anyway, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. And then here we are at Venus opposing Uranus. Suddenly, right? So there it is, suddenly. That's what a lot of people think of when they think of luck. You know, Uranus can be a certain type of luck. The bolt out of the blue, the, before and after. The thing is that Uranus is not innately a positive, right? It's neutral. You have planets like Jupiter and Venus, which are the benefics in the traditional astrology schema, that actually have positive connotations. They have their shadow sides too, don't get me wrong. But Venus, it does have positive connotations, and Venus rules money, relationships, social cohesion, the social contract, and it meets up with chaos. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, or come to me and say that they met somebody and they fell in love at first sight. This can be a love at first sight signature. It can also be a signature where relationships that have been on shaky ground end. And the thing to know about Venus opposing Uranus is that when things end under this signature, you don't get them back, right? What's lost during this time is not regained. It becomes the past. It becomes part of your story. But the flip side of that is also what is gained during this time is often lost, but never forgotten, right? And you have to kind of accept this with a certain amount of grace because things aren't meant to last forever. Uranus is a very unstable energy. It's not here for the long haul. It's here to give you insight that literally blows your mind. And that insight might be around, again, money, relationships, all sorts of relationships too. It doesn't have to be romantic relationships. It can be business relationships. It can be friendships. Anyway, very exciting. And then at the end of the week, Venus moves into trine with Neptune. Now, this is a deep water trine. Venus in Scorpio, and you don't really get deeper than Venus in Scorpio, right? Trines Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is at home in Pisces. It's in Chariot in Pisces. And when a planet is in Chariot, when it's in its home ruling sign, it brings out the best aspects of that planet rather than activating the more shadow sides of it. And the best aspects of Neptune are literally otherworldly. Anything can happen. Anything is possible. It is a sign of magic. I almost can't find the words when it comes to Neptune. It is art. This is an incredible time for art making, and especially the art making where you turn the logic dial down and up the inspiration. You know, a lot of people think that art happens when you're inspired. And as a working artist, I can tell you that that's not true. Art happens when you do the work. However, inspiration is a thing. At the end of this week, art making, which Venus also rules, is going to be in a beautiful, beautiful trine with inspiration. And so I hope all of you creatives out there, all of you makers, are able to really sink into this energy and use it creatively. So recap, 50% off all readings throughout the end of the year. The last 2 weeks of Jupiter's retrograde, we are in it. Gather the seeds. You are your own best teacher. The sun ingresses to Capricorn and teaches us an earthbound lesson in hope. We have an incredibly active day on December 21st with a small talent triangle between Jupiter, Saturn, and Tyche. Luck is knocking at your door. Will you open it? Please open it. And then Venus is in opposition to Uranus, and then at the end of the week moves into a trine with Neptune, which will be perfected next week. But what a trip. This week's incredible. I hope you absolutely maximize it. So once again, before I say goodbye, find your pot of gold. It's an upcoming offering for 2024. And it's really about understanding your own luck profile, how luck shows up for you. And I put this together because I've just heard too many times, I'm not a lucky person. I'm not as lucky as, or even worse, I'm unlucky. And I just simply don't believe that. Luck exists as a potential in every person's chart. Luck isn't for other people. It just shows up differently for everyone. And so this coming year, I want to really help you unpack how it shows up for you so that you can maximize it. And finally, thank you for using astrology as a tool for understanding yourselves and our world. Thank you. I hope you have a great week, and I'll be back next week.